Bloodlust verification is one of the most famous stories in Geometry Dash history. Almost everyone is familiar with the year-long journey to beat the former hardest level in the world. It was truly the first depiction of how difficult a level can be. Bloodlust is a story of grit, determination, perseverance, and victory. In most iterations of this story, the verifier of Bloodlust isn't talked about very much. People only talk about the main progress points and dramas along the way. His personal story was somewhat neglected through all the chaos of this level. In my opinion, the journey of this person is just as important, if not more so, than the level itself. After all, without him, the story of Bloodlust would be completely different. I've always been fascinated with Bloodlust, but I never felt like I got the full story. So I decided to take my own crack at it. And what better way to do that than to talk to the verifier himself? For the people who are watching that may not be familiar with you, could you just introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's me, Knobbelboy. I don't know what to say really about me. I verified Bloodlust. That's the big one, isn't it? I verified Bloodlust.
Knobbelboy's story with Bloodlust is just as interesting as the community side. For the majority of us, it's impossible to know what it'd be like to verify the hardest level in the world. It's an honor that less than 50 players have ever been able to experience, and Knobbelboy is one of them. After all of the emotions, after coming so close so many times, and having the pressure of thousands of people on his back, he was able to finish a story that seemed like it was written from a novel. Today, we'll be talking about the classic story of Bloodlust, but from Knobbelboy's perspective. On May 22nd, 2014, a Swedish YouTuber called PewDiePie made a video of himself playing a game called Geometry Dash. The premise was simple. You click on the screen or tap your phone and the cube jumps. Of course, it gets more complicated than that, but it was enough to hook a young Knobbelboy into the game. He quickly installed Geometry Dash Lite, which is a free version of the game. When he did everything he could in the demo, he bought the full game. His interest in Geometry Dash waned, but what really got him into it was the competition between himself and his friends at school.
A bunch of people at school started playing it, and that's when I got a few of my friends also played, and that's when I got re-entered into it. And then we started competing to beat the main levels, who could beat them faster.
After he beat the main levels with his friends, Knobbelboy would never leave the game. He would marginally get better every time he played. Geometry Dash updated to version 1.9, and Noobass uploaded a level called Theory of Skrillex. While it isn't considered to be extremely hard today, the level was thought to be closer to an insane demon for the time period. He would make quick work of it, beating his first milestone demon level. Demons are the hardest difficulty in Geometry Dash. They're so hard that they're split into 5 different subcategories. Today, extreme demons are the highest possible difficulty that a level can get. Given that there are only 3 or 4 extreme demons in 2015, Knobbelboy is already on a good pace to reach the top. He would take his talent to the next level on July 2nd, 2015, when he beat his first insane demon, Windy Landscape. After beating Windy Landscape, Knobbelboy would get his big break on May 27th, 2016. On this day, Knobbelboy would become the 7th person in the world to beat the Hell Factory, which was his first ever extreme demon. After the biggest victory in his GD career, he immediately sets out on the hardest level in the game, Bloodbath. At the time, the race to beat Bloodbath just concluded, and Quasar became the level's first ever victor. After the race, the floodgates opened, and Knobbelboy was one of the first to pounce. After 30,000 attempts and 3 months of hard work, Knobbelboy beat the hardest level in Geometry Dash.
It did feel special because for me it made me feel like I was at that point at those as those Kaizo Mario players that I watched a lot as a kid. This is what was the level, obviously.
While the Bloodbath victors came pouring in, a creator known as Manix wanted to remake the level. He would routinely stream himself building it to a significant amount of viewers. This, along with his incredible talent for building, was why Bloodlust was the most hyped community project in Geometry Dash history. When Manix finished the decoration for the level, it only now needed to be verified for his work to be published onto the servers. That means that someone has to beat it legitimately for it to be recognized as an official level. The first person that Mannix chose to verify Bloodlust was the first victor of Bloodbath himself, Quasar. However, Knobbelboy offered his services to Mannix in case things fell through with Quasar.
I wasn't that interested in it. That was until the preview showed up that included the tunnel part at the end of the level. That part was so cool to me that I was like, I want to play this level. If anything, I want to verify. So I just dropped a message to Mannix, and I said, yo, if by any chance, right, like I don't think it's gonna happen, but if by any chance Quasar does not want to do Bloodlust anymore, hit me up, I'm interested.
While Quasar was trying to verify Bloodlust, he ran into many different issues. School was getting more demanding for him, and his finger pains were starting to take a toll on his ability to play. Because of this, Quasar dropped Bloodlust. The level had no verifier, but not for long. Knobbelboy's gamble on himself paid off. Mannix chose Knobbelboy to be Quasar's successor to verify Bloodlust. Knobbelboy was now at the helm of completing the biggest project in Geometry Dash history. For Knobbelboy, it was a cool feeling to play the level that a community of thousands was excited about. At this stage of the verification, he would try to do small segments of the level. Even though he hasn't played the level for very long, progress seems to be going according to plan and he's having a lot of fun. That was until he tried to string those small segments together.
The real clear indication, like, this is gonna take a long damn time, is when I first got like to Michigan in like an actual run from the start, and I was like, it took me so long to get past Michigan for the official one, and that's when like I started noticing like this level's hard.
When Knobbelboy took on the Bloodlust project, he knew that he was verifying the new hardest level in the game, but even still, nothing could have prepared him for the many month-long battle that was to come. On September 8th, he would make his first significant progress on Bloodlust by almost making it past Namtar's part. It would take a whole month for the next update though, which was 43%. Unfortunately, this was the last progress that Knobbelboy would get for a while, but he still kept busy in between this time frame. While he was getting the ropes of Bloodlust, Knobbelboy would take a quick detour to beat a Thanatos, which is one of the top 5 hardest levels in the game. Knobbelboy taking on other top levels at the same time as Bloodlust was a big point of controversy in the community. Some believed that he should stay fully committed to beating the level, while others thought he should be able to do whatever he would like. For Knobbelboy, the reason he took on a Thanatos was to prove himself in the community that he was still one of the world's best players.
It was mostly just a point of like, yeah, I know Bloodlust is taking forever, guys, but like, look, it's not that easy. I'm still like pretty okay at the game, and also I had a YouTube channel that I was focusing on and caring more about, and if I did not make progress on Bloodlust, I had to, upload something.
After a Thanatos was slain, he would get a new record on Bloodlust, being 52%. However, right after this progress, Knobbelboy would get another opportunity of a lifetime. Team N2 was a group of Korean creators who specialized in building extreme demons. They built Abazar Phantasm, which is a popular 2.0 level at the time. Most importantly though, they built the Hell Factory, which is a level that gave Knobbelboy his big break. Team N2 was working on a new level called Artificial Ideology. They originally tasked Riot to verify it, who was the person who verified Bloodbath, meaning he beat it even before Quasar. Riot made good progress on the level, but he couldn't finish it and he chose to retire from Geometry Dash. Team N2 was without a verifier for their new level. Repple, who was the spokesman for Team N2, approached Knobbelboy on if he wanted to verify AI. Without any second thoughts, he obliged. It didn't take long for Knobbelboy to verify the level, as it was significantly easier than Bloodlust. As a reward, Team N2 made Knobbelboy an honorary member of the team, which is an honor that Knobbelboy takes pride in to this very day. That wasn't all that he was up to though. While many people in hindsight see him as a top level player, Knobbelboy was one of, if not the best creator the game had ever seen at that point. Before he beat the Hell Factory and declared himself as one of Geometry Dash's best players, he built a level called the Furious, which was seen as one of the game's visual marvels. Even by today's standards, the level is beautiful. When Knobbelboy picked up Bloodlust, his creativity didn't stop. He featured in mega collabs like Fusion Z and Subterranean Animism. In the midst of Bloodlust verification, he would begin building a level that would define his building career. Soon after, Knobbelboy uploaded his first preview for God Eater. Not even the best creators that Geometry Dash had to offer could build a level as beautiful as this. God Eater's previews quickly became some of his most viewed videos. Knobbelboy was verifying the hardest level and building the most anticipated effect level in history. As for the playing side of the community, questions arose about Knobbelboy's commitment to verifying Bloodlust. He's completed 2 different extreme demons, and he's also undertaking a massive building project at the same time. For Knobbelboy, he was still fully committed to verifying Bloodlust. No matter his intentions, the lack of significant progress showed. Despite having Bloodlust for a while now, he still hasn't made it to the second half of the level. That would change though on March 2nd, 2017, when Knobbelboy hit a huge milestone.
Yes! We get it! We passed Bloodbath!
Beating the Bloodbath parts was the moment I thought like, okay, we're finally nearing the conclusion of this. That was a real big like boost in motivation for the level. That was like, I felt like I was in my head like, even if that extension wasn't there, I just kind of beat the hardest thing there was.
For those who aren't familiar, Bloodbath ends at around the 2-minute mark. However, in Bloodlust, you still have another full minute of brutal gameplay to get past. The true battle for Knobbelboy was just beginning. A month after 68%, he would do the entire extension in one run. Knobbelboy has officially done Bloodlust in 2 segments. All he had to do now was to put it all together. On April 25th, he did a start position for Michigan's part on 19%, to Terran's part in the extension at 85%. Another month later in April, he got 76%. This is the fastest progress that Knobbelboy has made in his entire journey. I wouldn't blame you if you thought the story was almost over, but unfortunately, we're only getting started.
What the fuck? Really?
Yeah, I mean, what is there to say about 98? I had a really good stream that one time, and I died at 97. People often forget about like the fact that I died at 97. That was such a clear stress death. That was just like, oh, I stressed out, I got nervous. Next time we get there, we got this. Like this is like. So I think it was half an hour later, if less, and that's when I got to that part again. I got the nerves again because I was like, okay, I got my funny death out of the way, like I can do it now. And then obviously, 98 happened, and it was so painful because it was 2 times that close after each other.
If you ask any Geometry Dash veteran what the worst fail in the game's history is, you'll probably get 2 answers. Mifui's 98% death on Sonic Wave, or Knobbelboy's 98% death on Bloodlust. Both of these answers are valid, but it's hard to imagine what it'd be like to be on the receiving end. Before this moment, Knobbelboy had an incredible amount of momentum. If it wasn't gone when he died in 97, it definitely was when he died in 98. There was no more progress to be made. The only landmark left is to beat the level. Every death from now on isn't an event or special in any way. It's just another shortcoming. Momentum seemed to go down. There seemed to be more rage moments. Knobbelboy didn't get mad at dying at the end of the level, as that was the expectation. Instead, he'd get mad at dying to the easier parts, like Vermilion or Evasium. Meanwhile, Manix was having his own problems. While he was hosting Bloodlust, he had another Extreme Demon project that was just as popular. That level was called Blade of Justice, and it was in turmoil. After going through countless different skilled verifiers, it was clear that the level was simply too hard. Having had enough, Manix gave up on Blade of Justice and told the level's current verifier, Rico LP, to severely nerf it. On the same day that it was nerfed, he verified it. A level that was meant to be the hardest in the game was placed well outside the top 10. The reason that this is important is because the person who just nerfed Blade of Justice is also in charge of Bloodlust. Because of how long Bloodlust was taking, Manix asked Knobbelboy if he wanted to nerf the level. Fortunately for our story, Knobbelboy declined and said that he would get it done in its current state.
He did tell me, like, you should nerf it. He did want me to nerf it to get it out fast, and I was like, no, because that would, like, for me more than for you would be like giving up. And he was like, as far as I remember, a bit annoyed about that, but he also just said like, okay, well, it's your hell to deal with, so go ahead. But he did just eventually, like, in a sense, he just kind of passed the level to me in the sense of like, just make sure that it gets out. It's on you. I'm kind of done with all these like crazy hard long projects that are just not coming out.
After 98, he felt like he hit some sort of a brick wall. He played the level as much as he ever had, but the runs weren't coming as frequently as they used to. We're now a year into Bloodlust verification, and the pressure to beat it was rising. Before Bloodlust, a level verification never took any longer than 3 to 4 months. Knobbelboy is looking to triple that record. Because of this, the community claimed that he was taking far too long to verify it, and that I should pass it to a more skilled player. Despite this, Knobbelboy stood strong and spent many hours grinding the level. Knobbelboy's determination to persevere was on full display. No matter what happened to him, he never backed down. He's playing the level almost every day, hoping that today might be the day. Many more deaths that were far into the level would come, but his final challenge was approaching. Krazen was an up-and-coming star player in the Geometry Dash community. In a short period of time, he proved that he was one of GD's best players. One day, Krazen saw the slow verification of Bloodlust and decided to take matters into his own hands. Somehow, Krazen got his own copy of the level and started playing it, and his progress was rapid. Krazen essentially stole Bloodlust and was trying to verify it for himself.
It was just a terrible situation from everyone's point of view towards everyone else. And it's just that Krazen started like just not accepting that. Like, I was like, man, I'm just trying my best. Can you just not be like this, not be like this act about it? But mostly I tried to just tell Krazen like, just stop with this, man.
Tensions rose from both the Knobbelboy and Krazen camp. It seemed like Krazen was unwilling to drop the level and let Knobbelboy verify it. His argument was the same as the community's, that he was taking far too long to verify it. Today, this seems like a pretty obvious case of Krazen being in the wrong. However, this was the community's first time dealing with a controversy like this. So whoever relented in this battle could change the course of Geometry Dash history. Thankfully, an agreement was made and Krazen let up on playing Bloodlust, just telling Knobbelboy to hurry up. Knobbelboy, in response, told him,
I'm trying, but I will beat the level. And that's kind of where it's like, that was kind of like the end note of it. That's kind of when the whole like situation cooled down finally and it all turns off.
Immediately after the drama, Knobbelboy was able to put together runs again. For the first time in months, it seemed like momentum was once again on his side.
It was less about being actually more motivated and more just being so done with it. It worked to a degree. Like it started going better. I started getting better runs again. And I was like, okay, I'm here again, I can do this, so I will.
Of course, there were still many deaths late in the level, but at this point, he got used to them, and used it as motivation to push further. At some point into the verification, he put together a schedule where he would do nothing but play Bloodlust for an hour every day. Sometimes it was on stream, and sometimes off stream. The people in the community that believed that Knobbelboy was slacking didn't see the hours that he put off stream to get this level verified. Only the people in his Discord server truly knew how much effort he was putting into Bloodlust. After a year and over 100,000 attempts, Knobbelboy was due for a break, and on February 26, 2018,
There was just one part that I'll always be sad about, and that's the fact that it wasn't live. It was one of those days where I was It was one of those days I never planned to stream to begin with, but I was indeed on the grind of always playing the level every day, at least a little bit. So it honestly was just my like assigned hour of just, okay, I'm just gonna play the level. I might not be a big surprise, but I was really tired of the song of the level. It was also the point where I started just playing my own music a lot while playing the level. And I distinctly remember that day that I was just playing like bad. Like there were no extension attempts at all. It was mostly like Michigan, Nicro, and Nicro, bit of Etzer, but then Nicro again. Just a whole bunch of that for about like half an hour. And I was honestly thinking to myself, like, okay, today's just like one of those kind of days. I'll keep going for the remaining half hour, but I'll probably quit. And I mean, funny for me, it's just, and why it to me, it was a really interesting moment. And I think I still have the raw recording where you can hear it. One of my favorite games still, and especially at the time, was the pretty recently released Xenoblade 2. And I was specifically listening to that soundtrack that day. And I remember that it was mostly that just randomly out of nowhere, you know, it was just a terrible day with attempts, and as the final boss theme of that game was playing, I had like 1 or 2 bad attempts, and then it just happened. I cleared it, that attempt. I remember that so distinctly because it was just like a double kind of moment for me in that sense. But it was weird because like a thing that was with Bloodlust and a level that was that hard and so time consuming and so weird is that, I mean, we've all seen like the other like GD players who have like their heartbeat monitors and stuff like that. Like it's getting that far in a level that takes you that much time. It just raises the stress. It raises anxiety. It raises like just the heartbeat and everything like that. So I very distinctly remember that whenever I would get the TMN part, I would barely hear anything anymore at that point, and it would always be a little hazy, especially like the first few times, but even then later on as well. I remember like hitting that like specific jump, it actually like landing and seeing I didn't die from it, and it was genuinely just like the most like it took like a time to realize that like I had to like double check in my head if it wasn't just a run from 65 or something. But then I like, as I went back in my head within that like a fraction of a second time frame, I was like, wait, that was a full attempt. That was the whole level. It is done. And then, you know, the reaction came from it, like me honestly annihilating the desk. That fun fact I still use to this day. So the trooper.
The Bloodlust desk, yeah.
It's still here, man. But yeah, no, that initial like, yeah, it's just that reaction and like everything it just all came at once. And yeah, it was just I remember just like actually being a bit like overwhelmed, like both from like an emotional point of view, but also definitely from a physical point of view, because it was actually like, rather than like the stress like releasing itself in a failed attempt like I was used to, it was suddenly followed by this huge amount of excitement and like disbelief, and just being like, wait a minute, I need to like chill out, otherwise I'm actually gonna hurt myself in a way.
It was a very long road to get to this point. It took so long, in fact, that the next major update to Geometry Dash was already out. Despite the shortcomings, the fails, and the drama the whole way through, Knobbelboy could finally call himself the verifier of a top 1 level. Within hours, the level got epic graded, which is the highest honor that a level can get. Immediately after Bloodlust, Knobbelboy decided to tie up some loose ends. The highly anticipated level God Eater was finally finished and was released to the public. It then got DMCA'd shortly after and was reworked into what is now Astral Divinity. We don't talk about that though. He also began work on a new level that was set to be the hardest thing that a human can beat, which he calls Orochi. The full level was previewed 5 years ago, but it's unfortunately gone under some development trouble. The last preview for the modern version of Orochi was posted 7 months ago. If the level was completed and verified today, it would comfortably take the #1 spot as the hardest level in Geometry Dash. For myself, there's a lot that I admire about Knobbelboy. He was the first true story of determination in Geometry Dash. He proved that if you try hard enough, anything is possible. I want to thank Knobbelboy for coming on and sharing his personal story with Bloodlust with me. I'm also happy to share that the full 2-hour interview will be posted to this channel a few days after the release of this video. There are many hidden gems that are in the interview that I couldn't fit into here, so consider that an incentive to watch that too. Even though it was so long ago, his insight was priceless. Knobbelboy's channel will be linked in the description, and I highly recommend that you subscribe to him and show him as much support as you possibly can.